Hello.
Hi.
So we are back, and this is my second last. You're already like basically matching her expression.
I love her. I love
Yes.
this character. I'll let him talk though.
Okay. This is Avery Blanton, and she is a Starmie. She's 16. She has the ability Analytic. She's quirky and highly curious, and she has Hydro Pump, Tri Attack, Psychic, and Cosmic Power. I don't think we've ever seen her use any of those moves.
No, she's never been
But
in
she
battle.
sure does have them.
Yes.
And she is in Sweet Cane House. She's 5'7". Her date of birth is April 13th, and her blood type is AB. Do you just want to go because you seem very excited?
No, okay. You talk about the character, and I'll talk about my experience with the character.
Okay.
I will tell you how I was introduced to her.
Yes. Okay. So basically,
That might be a scene I write out too, because that was a really funny scene.
yes. Basically, what her deal is that she is uncomfortably energetic.
Absolutely.
Absolutely uncomfortably energetic.
Like she needs some Ritalin.
She basically like almost doesn't. It's not that she's like physically uncomfortably energetic, because it's not like she can't sit still, but like basically her mouth just keeps talking.
Yes. Like she doesn't shut up.
No, she doesn't really like shut up, and she's like excited and like fascinated by the smallest and most like unimportant things.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you know how, like, you could, like, dangle car keys in front of a baby? Like, she's sort of like that.
Yes. Like, you absolutely could. Like, you could tell her the dumbest things, and she'll listen to you like you're, like...
Spouting some, like, hard science.
Yes.
Yes.
You'd be like, hey, did you know race cars spelled the same way forwards and backwards?
And she'd be like, tell me more.
Oh my god, it is.
Yes. She's a baby. I love her so much. I can't even. Like, she's just so good. Okay. So this is how I was introduced to this character. Kevin was like, okay, I need, like, a neutral character for her, like, somebody, like, completely neutral. And I'm like, okay, how about Kelly? And he's like, yeah, that works. So how I'm introduced to her is she, like, runs up to me, and she's like, oh, my name's Avery Blanton. Da-da-da-da-da. Like, she keeps talking. And then Kelly's like, oh, I'm Kelly Green, something. And then she's like, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from outside of Heart Home. And she's like, what's Heart Home like? And I kind of talked about it. And then I talked about her parents, blah, 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 blah. And then Kelly's like, where are you from? And she's like, I'm from Olivine City. And she gives, like, this, like... Kevin intended it to be more like like
basically like the way I did it was visit scenic Olivine City. You can enjoy our various things
vistas
and like a regular like travel ad.
Yeah, like that's the way she had presented it. But for some reason, my brain is like, she's Wikipedia, and I'm like, oh my god, she's a walking Wikipedia page. Like, yes. She had studied the Wikipedia page. Like, oh, the population's this. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I'm so fascinated by her. So I'm asking her stuff. I'm like, what's your family like? She's like, oh, it's just normal, mom and dad, that kind of stuff. And eventually, like, I don't know how she exits the scene, but I think she just, like, not like got bored of me, but she was like, oh, okay, something, and then she just left. And I'm like, okay.
And you were just, like, left, like, what the fuck just happened to me? What, like, I just
she like interrogated me, but like in a nice way.
She's like, you were like, that was the most pleasant whirlwind I've ever experienced.
Yes. And I'm like, I love her.
Yes.
She's my baby. And I'm just so highly amused by her, because I was like, okay, so she's Wikipedia.
Yes. And you've continued to call her Wikipedia ever since.
Ever since I call her Wikipedia.
And that's just how she talks to people.
That's how she talks to everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's because she's kind of like a sheltered genius is the way she comes off, where it's like she reads things on the internet, or she reads things, or people tell her things, and she like spits them back verbatim.
Yeah.
Like, very photogenic kind of memory.
She's very, very literal in that sense.
Yes.
Like, if you tell her something, she will, like, literally remember that. And she doesn't really understand, like, that there's a nuance that you don't have to repeat like everything back.
Yeah.
Like she just like it's like, oh well, like I got told X. Let me repeat it exactly as X was instead of making it into Y.
Like if Kelly were to say, I think she said something like this. She was like, "Oh, my parents are part of the team Galais d'Ivoire, but sometimes they're colloquially known as the Galais d'Ivoires with an S." The actual title doesn't have the S, but sometimes they're called that because it just sounds nicer. She would literally
gonna knock that glass
I would knock that. You're right. But she would literally be like, "Oh, they're called that, but also known as this." Like she would say that.
She would literally repeat it.
Yes, literally repeat it. She's also kind of one of those people that, like, I think she quickly goes out of this, but it's sort of like she will call you by your full name.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of like a Bees thing where it's like Kelly Green is Kelly Green. It's sort of like that.
Bees did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she'd be like, "Oh, Kelly Green, something, something, something," or like, "Oh," like her roommate's Dexana. So, "Oh, Dexana Kumagai," blah 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 blah. Yeah, instead of just Dex or Dexana.
And she told her to like knock that off really quickly.
Oh yeah, no, because Dex absolutely hated that.
She's like, "No, we're not having any."
No, we're not having it. No, She's just so. I love her so much.
Yes.
She's just great. I love her energy, and I love how her and Dex play off each other really nicely.
Yes.
Like they're like stapled to each other basically. Like they're just so good.
Yes.
Because Dex is kind of like rough around the edges. She's kind of like hard to be around, but Avery makes her way more cuddly.
Yeah, and almost like it's almost like she just doesn't even see that about her. Like she just kind of like interacts with her like in spite of that.
Yes. It's almost like Avery finds it like endearing that she's kind of off-putting as a person.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
it comes off that way. Like, "Oh, I know you don't mean to be that way."
Like it almost comes off like she's just like blind to the whole thing. She doesn't even realize it.
Yeah, or even that. Like she just doesn't even. "Oh, Dex is mean." No, she's not.
No, she's not.
Yeah.
Not mean to mean.
Yeah, exactly. I just really, really like her, and her design's great.
Yes.
Like she's just adorable. Look at her.
Yes.
Look at the baby.
I am happy that you like her.
Yes, she's good. She's a very, very good character. She's very entertaining.
Because like we said in the Wolfram video, like I just kind of sprung this one on you.
Yes, absolutely. Her and the other character, which we'll talk about in a second. You were like, "Hey, I have this character and this other character," and you gave me a brief rundown of her and of him, and I was like, "I love it. Let's go."
Yes. Let's just do this.
Let's just do this. Yes. I want to meet these guys.
And again, I had these sitting on like basically my IDs like shelf.
Yes.
For like a month, because I think I introduced these characters like somewhere in July. And I had them sitting around since basically like early June. I had like a full bio, like the way that we normally do them.
Yeah,
like,
the full thing, like birthday.
Basically, what you see here on screen, like I had the full thing already like written out and like sitting somewhere, and I'm just like, "Hey, here's some new characters."
Yes.
That I came up with, and like I was like, I don't know, like I'm not sure if I'm going to do anything with these characters, and then I'm just like, nah, let's just do them anyways.
I think with Avery, you were kind of worried she would come off like too annoying or like too spotlight steely in a sense.
Yeah, I thought that she would be a little like too much, but you actually didn't think so.
No, her playing off Dex works really well because she really needs someone to play off of like a straight man, and she works super well for that.
Yeah.
So they were like a match made in heaven, basically.
Yes. Which we accidentally did.
Totally accidentally. Again, usually when we make roommate pairings, it's like
see, usually like while we were still like in the middle of like everybody was making characters, like we usually ended up and we're still all making characters, but like when like we had basically like we all made a bunch of characters and we didn't assign roommates in between, we kind of like rolled the dice on like who went with who.
Yeah.
Kind of. But like with the new ones, usually like if you make a new character and I make a new character, like, and we don't know of any other characters being made, we'll just be like, oh, they're just rooming together because why not? And this was just one of those.
And usually
cases.
It's for comedic value.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll get along, maybe this, maybe that, maybe they'll hate each other.
No, see, because we definitely mostly pair characters because they wouldn't get along.
Yeah, no, definitely, that's what I do. It's like, oh, they fucking hate each other. That's comedic gold. Let's do it.
Yes. And we actually thought that this would be one of those cases, but it just ended up not being.
No, absolutely not. Like, complete 180 from what I expected.
Yes.
Because in character, I was like, I can't hate you. You're just hilarious. Like,
Yes.
why do you act like this?
Something wrong with you? What's up?
Yeah, no. Basically, because Dex is like, oh, I think there's something wrong with her, but that's all right. I'm cool with that.
Yes. I can respect that.
I can respect that, yeah. So no, I think that's that. She's just really, really good.
Yes.
There's a lot of good stuff with her.
I am very glad she turned out
Yes.
the way she did.
I'm very happy you let me meet her. She's very good.
Yes. Alright, so on to my final character, at least for the moment.
Yes.
So we will see you for that.
Okay, bye.
Bye.